Okay, so the E series is something that I hear you credit a lot for. Um, I don't hear anybody bring it up or any mention uh mention of it.
Ease
Like,
Ease
I know
has a
it's very
following.
obscure and it goes on sale a lot. I see it on the eShop and on Steam. It's like, oh, I forgot about this. But if you say it's good, I'd give it a shot. If it's story and substance, then uh
It's the way how the story is told, because in the Ease series there's no, they all have their own story. Yeah, they're all numbered, but they're as numbered as Final Fantasy. They all have their,
I mean,
each game is in the series is their own story.
well, I thought you meant like confined within each game, regardless of if the games were interconnected. That's
Yeah,
what I thought you meant.
yeah, it really doesn't matter like if it's connected or not. If it's connected, then yeah, I'm gonna need to at least pay attention to the story. But if it's in terms of the gameplay, if I'm not really enjoying it as much, it's not one I'm gonna be playing again.
So, what about the gameplay and the story holds you?
For if the story and gameplay holds me, well, that's gonna be the one I'm gonna go back to.
I mean, yes, that's what you mentioned, but I'm asking what about each holds you? This can apply this because this is a question that can be applied to other RPGs.
Oh, like take for example Borderlands. Borderlands is also an RPG. Like Borderlands 3 story has a shit story.
It has a shit story, but the world building is great, which is its own story.
Oh, the One Piece approach. Yes. Can't find plot. Just keep expanding the world till you run into some shit.
Pretty much.
I mean, why do you think people still play League? Because this story and lore is fucking amazing.
What? No, I thought it was just a 10-cent Skinner box, but sure, that works too.
I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who appreciates the lore story.
Nope, and then you get the opposite, where it's like, yep, I'm playing Dota 2, and I'm playing Invoker, and I gotta do all my combination spells and show my EP to show that I too can do a 20 spell combo.
I don't think my question has been answered yet.
Alright, here's... I want to answer your question, but now I don't even know what your question is.
The goldfish brain strikes again.
No, because I'm hearing like 3 different things at once, and the whole conversation got derailed. I'm like, wait, what was the original question?
Okay.
Like, I know it has something to do with story and gameplay substance, but what about that you asked me?
What I'm saying is, okay, so you're in it for the story and the gameplay. What about a story coupled with its gameplay holds you? Like, what keeps you? What retains your attention?
What retains my... That's the thing. That's like game-to-game basis, to be honest. Like, a game doesn't need to be complicated. A game doesn't need to be simple. But if you're able to make the mechanics of the game work, then that's fine. Like, you could have one or the other, but combining both is difficult. There's not really something specific to me, because, you know, I could play turn-based games and I could play action RPGs. They both do different things, but there are certain aspects of each one that I really enjoy. Like, the gameplay. All right, you know what? I just thought of it right now. The gameplay, if it's engaging enough, allows me to have like some kind of connection with the characters.
Via the gameplay.
Via the gameplay, yes. I'm using Ease as an example again. In Ease 8, as you progress through the game and get your level ups, you learn new skills, and you get to amp up those skills as you're using them. So you get the feel for how those characters are supposed to be, and over time, you kind of want to get to know those characters a little more. So the game allows you to buy gifts to incentivize giving those to those particular characters, and you learn more about those characters.
Isn't that just Fire Emblem?
Which, yeah, but no romance. No romance. Because in Ys 8, everyone's shipwrecked.
I mean, I didn't mean it referencing the romance, but the learning more about
pretty much
your team.
Like you have the story, but the story itself is mostly you get off the island. And now it just pertains to what's on the island, and then your relationship with the people that you're trying to escape with.
Okay, I gotta play this for myself,
And
because
it goes in tandem with the gameplay, because like it just goes with the way how each character just feels. I enjoyed it. It's great. Still haven't finished it though. Working on that. But then you have like games that are turn-based, and I'm okay with turn-based too. But it goes towards like the way how the character plays, then turns into I'm interested more into this character. Let me learn more about this character.
You never told me how East played. I didn't know it wasn't turn-based.
I'm pretty sure all the Ys games are action RPGs.
Okay.
Ys 8 is an action RPG. Ys 1 and 2 are action RPGs. Ys 3 is an action RPG, but it's a side-scroller. Instead of being, like the earlier Ys games are bird's eye view.
Okay.
Ys 3 is a side-scroller, much like Zelda 2.
Okay.
All the other ones are 3D environments, but it's 2D character sprites. For, hang on, give me a second. I gotta look up the ones that are in my library.
Regardless, darn it, Joe, it's spreading. Now I forgot my point.
Before I contract the goldfish-itis, I'm going to
The goldfish-itis.
Goldfish-itis.
Oh, it can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. We all will succumb sooner or later.
Okay, I think I remember this. So from what I see, like I'm actually gonna have to play Ys 8 for myself, because the logic you apply to it can be applied to any video game as long as you like it. So I think it's just
it's a preference thing. That's what it is, man. Like, I see why people enjoy Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. It's just I don't think the gameplay
supports the story.
It doesn't engage me enough as the story engages me.
Again,
so you want to have your cake and eat it too, right?
I don't want to make it sound like that, because there's a lot of games that I just enjoy the story and I enjoy the gameplay. The gameplay works here. It's just if it was my choice, I would play it in one particular way, which is just power lift everything.
That's just be a speedrunner. But I was using that as a joke comment, because it's hard to have your cake and eat it too.
No, I know it is, and when there is one, that just works, and one that you just fully enjoy,
I understand what you're saying. Like, the combat and the story don't really link together. I can see what you're saying that way. The way that you interact with your partners isn't really as in-depth as other games, and their respective parties, so I can see that. This is an E for everyone game. It was made for kids.
Oh yeah, like I understand. It's supposed to be like baby's first RPG.
Yeah,
and that's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly suitable in that regards. I kind of see it almost in the same gameplay wise. I see it in the same vein as Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
What?
Gameplay wise.
Final Fantasy what? I've never heard of this.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is literally baby's first Final Fantasy.
But bad.
It's very bad. Like if you want to neuter an RPG to like it plays itself, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's a Super Nintendo game. Look it up.
I'll have to look into that. But anyway,
this game, on the other hand, it has the story. The gameplay is slightly higher than Mystic Quest, but at the same time, it doesn't engage me. It's not it's not that much more engaging.
When you can power lift, power bounce everything into oblivion, like I feel like that takes some of the magic out of it. I feel like this is a game you kind of had to grow up with to really get it, because Kaz and I usually go back to it for the nostalgia of it all, and not really because it's got interstellar gameplay. No, it's because it was our earliest RPGs, and it was different compared to at least what else I was playing. I don't know about Kaz's childhood, but
I mean, I didn't really play too many RPGs, but like I just liked Mario, and I'm like, oh, Mario has this cool RPG game that I don't know what really an RPG is. Yeah, I like this game. I like this turn-based combat.
I think when I figured out, I think the way I learned about Thousand Year Door, I was in some store. It wasn't a GameStop, but I think I was in Toys R Us. Oof, remember that? Remember Toys R Us? But yeah, I think I was in a Toys R Us, and they had a demo kiosk of Thousand Year Door in there. And this is before, like, I had access to Nintendo Power or any other magazine. So I played that demo, and I was like, I need this. I need this. And so I got it, and I was like, I needed this. Little me was like, I'm so glad I got this.
Yeah, we had Paper Mario 64, and like my sisters play it all the time because like that was like the only game they would play. Like they weren't big on video games like I was, but like that's one we kind of related to.
So Joe, just to end it off, I think so. There was an indie game that came out not too long ago that incorporates this game's combat into a much more dynamic. Thank you, Kirby, for saying it before I could say it.
Oh, Bug Fables?
Yes, Bug Fables. So what Bug Fables is, it's basically an homage to Thousand Year Door, but it takes a bit more of a modern approach to it. It still has Paper Mario-esque commands, but there's a different type of quest system, and you only have 3 party members, so you get to know your party members and the world that they live in really well. So it's basically Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for adults.
Bug Fables. Is that on Steam or?
It's multi-platform.
It's multi-platform.
Yeah.
Is it also on Switch?
I have it on Switch. Yes, I haven't touched it yet because I wanted to finish Origami King and Thousand Year Door before I went back to it. But
it's $20.
I mean, you don't have to play it immediately.
No.
But if you,
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like I was saying, it's a different take on a. I think it'll have what you're looking for when it comes to linking gameplay into characters and world building and all that good stuff. At least I think so.
Alright, I will say right now, like I'm looking at Bug Fables right now. I'm looking at some of the screenshots on Steam.
Okay.
The fact that you're able to use all 3 party members and not having to switch them out is already a plus in my book.
That's a shame, but okay. It's
Like I thought,
like, oh, it's like, oh, that's the part that grabs you. Okay,
look,
but
that's already an immediate upgrade for me because the one thing that kind of shut me off a little bit for this game, Thousand Year Door, is the fact that I have to keep constantly rotating my party. Like just my
Okay.
one character. Like I understand, like if I had 3, it'll make the battles way too easy.
as if they weren't already easy enough.
Yeah, like if they weren't already easy enough, it's now just leading me to, alright, which ones am I actually going to use? And you know, I did rotate, you know, between, like throughout the whole game, I rotated through a good chunk of the roster,
Yeah.
but I ended up only residing on 3. Sometimes 4, but mostly 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that I just have to constantly rotate them is like, it's like, fuck it, might as well just use my other resources and not have to worry about dragging them out until I was able to use quick change. And even then,
Okay.
I was swapping out like crazy, which just goes into how am I going to just go through this without giving myself a headache.
Okay. I think I get it. I get it. Yes. No. Yes.
Like, if you want me to try to explain it a little more, I can.
Please do, because I'm like,
Like-
I think I get it, but I'm not sure.
Like, the one thing I look forward to in RPGs is to see how flexible I am into playing the game. I love
Oh.
trying to find different ways of playing the game or playing as these characters and seeing, like, what is the extent of what they can do. What
Oh.
Paper Mario has only showed me right now, because of how simplistic it is big damage go brrr.
Okay. You want to see how far you can break your toy?
Pretty much, and this only led me to one thing: high damage.
Okay.
And again, like Animal, like I know I have an unorthodox way of playing, but it's just
See, when you would
the way
see.
how it works for me.
No. Here's the thing. That's not really unorthodox. Now that you finally explained it in language I understand, you goldfish. Okay, but finding out the extent of how far you can go and having that much creative freedom, that makes a lot of sense. It's just the way that you depicted it was just making me upset.
Like, I didn't know how to properly explain it, but until I actually finished this game and thinking about all the other RPGs that I've played, which is actually why I love Borderlands so much, because you could break the game in multiple ways.
Okay. See, finally, it took what? 9 episodes before we
47.
could answer that question.
It took about 47 hours of gameplay.
It took
About
2
a
days
couple-
of gameplay. It took 2 whole days of gameplay for me to finally figure out the answer to that question burning in the back of my head.
Why
Why?
does John play like this?
Oh,
It's
man.
not a speedrunner mentality. It's
It's
pushing to
literally
the
like
limit mentality.
it's literally like creative expression. That's it's staring me right in the face, but I didn't get it because I'm so used to this game.
Yeah, just creative. I crave creativity in my RPGs, and action RPGs may not be as much, but
You
It's-
actually
it's the-
might like
Bug
this Shin
Fables.
Megami Tensei game
Oh, Shin Megami Tensei.
because you'll be able to garner a large roster, larger than what you've got. So now you've got different strategies you can have access to
Oh, I might have
based on that.
I might have a fucking field day with this game then.
You might have a field day with it. From
Yeah,
what
like-
little I know, you may actually like you like Pokemon, Joe?
I do, yes.
You do? Okay, you may actually have a field day with any Shin Megami Tensei game because it's Pokemon for adults.
alrighty then. That's the best way I'm gonna be able to close this off then. Ain't no better way than, to get a lot, the biggest $1 million question of this whole playthrough.
It only took 40 years.
Yeah, it only took like about a couple weeks. Couple weeks, 47 hours later, I finally answered your biggest question as to why I play the way I do.
It's such a simple answer that I'm upset that I didn't get earlier.
And again, like I'm being sincere about this. I'm sorry that I couldn't explain it earlier.
It's cool.
It's just it didn't click until now.
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. The fact that we're having this conversation and I'm not mad about it is a good thing.
Yeah, like I even saw some points where he tried to like think outside the box when going to areas, and I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like when he I remember in chapter 5 when you went into the cave and remember those rising spikes at the beginning of the cave?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, you went in. What you're supposed to do is utilize Vivian to get through the spikes. Meanwhile, what you did is you went in and turned yourself like flat. I didn't know you could do that because I figured that there wouldn't be enough space between the spikes in order to do that. Lo and behold, there is.
And that's
he was able to do that without switching partners.
And that's what I like to see in RPGs, like different ways of tackling certain situations.
Did you play Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
Okay.
I fell in love with that shit, by the way.
There you go. That explains everything.
Bro, seriously, I streamed that game a couple years back, and I still remember this one chamber that I just went in and went out just as fast because it was one of those electric puzzles where you needed to use this electric cube to reroute the energy to remove this force field to get the orb. I ended up carrying, I had like 3 electric weapons, and I just used that to put in one of the switches, and I just got the orb.
Okay.
And that was it.
That's cool. I've never completed Breath of the Wild. I think I've told you the story as to why.
You got owned by a guardian, and
I got owned by a guardian. Then I went somewhere else. I didn't have enough stamina to climb it, and I was like, okay, where do I go? All the way across the map, and I'm like, okay.
Oh well, fuck me.
Give me a second. Give me a second to play the other games I got on my Switch. I swapped to Mario Odyssey. Really like that. Still haven't beat that though, and I haven't gone back to Breath of the Wild since.
Can I mention something about Breath of the Wild?
Shoot.
Sure.
It relates to Peripheral, but it's gonna take a minute for me to get there. So I remember watching this YouTube video where this guy made his girlfriend play video games, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and she was she kept trying to apply logic to the game, not really think about. It's she thought it was a she didn't think it was a video game. She thought outside the box of stuff that she thought she could do, but she couldn't. Like shooting red barrels or bringing barrels over to the objective, and it just hurt her brain. And then when she finally plays Breath of the Wild, things finally made sense for her. She started puzzle solving in her own way.
So what that explains is for certain people who enjoy gameplay, there are certain things that are confines within the games that we play that keep everything in line or within within the creator's vision or
and so
I don't know. There's a purpose to it, but it varies from game to game, developer to developer. Breath of the Wild has no restrictions.
It was made.
You can do this however you like, Chief.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was designed without having heavy restrictions.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm over here where do I go? And the answer is anywhere. And I'm like, I need objective. Where do I go?
Here's the thing. I enjoy Zelda Breath of the Wild. Meanwhile, I do not like Fallout. Like,
Isn't Fallout like very
depends.
like freedom of expression as well?
it kind
only.
of is, but you have to be dedicated to that expression.
Well, no, it depends on the game. So Fallout 1 and 2 are masterpieces. You can do whatever the fuck you want in Fallout 1 and 2. Fallout 3, that's when Bethesda got their hands on it and they made it brain dead. And then Obsidian was like, okay, you guys basically ruined our franchise, so they made
New Vegas, right?
yeah, New Vegas, and that's why there's a dividing topic of New Vegas versus Fallout 3, because Fallout 3 is like for the pea brains who just push a button and get rewarded, while Fallout New Vegas is the game that actually has a massive mechanical depth.
I couldn't do either of them.
Oh,
Well,
really?
Well,
I couldn't do either of them, and I don't know if I told you guys the story of how somebody tried to convince me that I would to play a Fallout game, Fallout 3 or New Vegas, and it was the stupidest thing I have ever heard as a comparison for me to play this game.
well, no, okay.
What did he say?
I'm here talking to this guy, and was like, he was talking about Fallout. I was like, Fallout, is that game any good? It's like, is New Vegas good? It's like, New Vegas is good, but I would say play 3 first.
Okay.
Three is a superior game. It's like, what is it like? Like, I don't know, like, what games do you play? I enjoy Borderlands. And I was like, well, if you like Borderlands, you're gonna like Fallout.
Okay.
Well, no, Fallout and Borderlands are two completely different games.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah, he
Okay.
already had my expectations through the fucking roof.
Okay,
It
so...
meant-
Okay, you just had
And it met none of my expectations. So there goes my playthrough 1 for like 6 hours. I couldn't go any further.
Hey, Joe?
Yes.
You ever think you got jebaited into playing the game just because your friend said, "Oh,
Oh no, I
yeah.
got jebaited, and then like 2 months later, I ended up restarting the game again, but now with like having no expectations. Like, all right, let me rework my brain for this not to, without the expectations of Borderlands. Let me actually play this as something I have never tried before.
Okay.
So then I started like playing in a particular way. I'm like, okay, this is fine. I started finding other things that I didn't find before, and then I got stuck on one part that I got stuck on the first playthrough. I'm like, I'm back where I started, so fuck this. It ended up being way too hard for me.
Oof.
Well, again, like Fallout is an RPG first, a shooter second, while Borderlands is a shooter first and an RPG second.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, you're right. And even then, like, if I try to put it into, like, an RPG perspective, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
I don't think the RPG part matters in the rest of this conversation. It's how creative you can get within the game that you're playing.
Yeah,
You just spun off the Breath of the Wild. That is not an RPG.
it's not, but you can look at it as an RPG.
Okay, yeah. Oh, one more game, and I don't know when we're gonna end it. But did you play Metal Gear 5? Because I'm pretty sure that's a game that gives you a lot of creative freedom.
Yeah, Metal Gear.
Hell yes, it did. I have played about 15 hours of Metal Gear 5 on PS4, and then I traded in as soon as I heard it came out on Steam. So I currently have the game on Steam. I haven't booted it up since, but I really got a kick out of MGS5. I really did. Story took a backseat, but the fact that it was through audio logs, I could put that in the background of me actually playing the game and be freaking doing my missions at the same time. Yes! Absolutely. I loved it.
Okay, that's okay. I'm starting to create a picture of all of this in my brain.
He likes games that offer creative freedom.
Okay, so you're not a goldfish.
Look, I may seem like a goldfish. It's just this game made me a goldfish.
Oh,
Gameplay-wise, this game just turned my brain off.
oh jeez.
Like, it's unfortunate, but I paid attention to the story for the most part.
Okay,
But I really think you would like Mario Odyssey then.
Mario Odyssey is great.
Oh, Mario
Well,
Odyssey
even
is fantastic.
Even for me, who was like, "Where do I go?" Mario Odyssey was like, "Here you go here," but after you go here, you get the rest of the level to yourself, and you still get rewarded for exploration. So that's
But Breath of the Wild is just like, here's a big open map, go.
and I'm like, I need an adult going.
Seriously, what Nintendo did for Breath of the Wild, they also did for Odyssey for the most part. Although, like, you know, they're two completely different franchises, they still did something, you know, very similar. Like, enough creativity in terms of how to get to your objectives.
Right.
You know, how to get to your moons, which moons do you want to take, how long you want to be in that area to see if you could get whatever you need. It is a game I actually... I beat in that game. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it, and people were still yelling at me.
What? Why?
Because I wasn't doing it their way. Does that sound familiar, Animal?
Okay, that's because this is a very different game from Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, it's a very different game from Mario Odyssey, but I still got yelled at.
I probably wouldn't yell at you for Mario Odyssey because I just know how freeform it is. This game is not as freeform, so...
Yeah, it clearly is not. The one time I actually had to put any thought into it was the Pit of 100 Trials.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why you...
The pit will put a couple creases on your brain, but...
And
other
honestly,
than
I
that-
think that was the most enjoyable part of the game. In my opinion,
The pit?
I think the Pit was the best part of the game.
That's actually pretty interesting, but I can
Yeah.
understand why.
Like, yeah, I was terrified when I fought freaking Bonetail, but
You did it!
I did it. All I gotta say is, if you want me to see how much fun I actually could have with some level of freedom, watch the highlight.
I'll probably watch the VOD since you went through the whole pit again.
Oh yeah,
I'll probably watch from the 50th floor onwards because that's where we stopped. No, we stopped on the 80th floor. So
I went actually go through 70. Start on 77 first because I never went through 78 or 79.
Oh, so you skipped them too and went straight to 80.
Yeah, we skipped I skipped the other two so I could
start
get
on 81.
Yeah. I went through a lot of them. I skipped a lot of them so I could get to at least 75, and from there onwards, I didn't skip a room.
Okay. So go to 77. I don't know. Something funny probably happens there.
I mean, all right. Little spoilers. I ran into a good number of Amazing Daisies.
Oh, yep. Yep. That'll happen.
And that was the one time where I effectively shat my pants. Just seeing those things fucking terrified me, but ooh, they give good experience points.
Yes, they do.
You can tell he liked it because he remembers the name.
I heard the name and I'm like, oh no. But yeah, that question is finally answered, and I am satisfied.
Alright. I'm just happy to know that I was able to end this playthrough with no questions left.
I apologize for yelling at you through 2 days of gameplay.
It's all good. It's all good. I get yelled at a lot. I do a lot of questionable things.
Oof.
But it all makes sense in the end. It's all according to Keikaku.
To what?
It's all according to plan.
Oh.
It's a meme from fucking the bad fan subs of Code Geass.
Oh. Code Geass?
Yeah.
Code Geass.
Okay.
Up with this.
Yeah, Kirby was the one that was yelling at me for Odyssey.
Well, I would not yell at you for Odyssey because I already know, like, this is Odyssey. Like, this is, you can do whatever you like in Odyssey and it'll work.
Yeah, you just do the Odyssey.
Hey, John.
Yes.
I will now proceed to pleasure myself with this fish.
I'm sorry, what?
What's this about fish?
I will proceed to now pleasure myself with this fish.
Okay,
Uh,
Stream.
Alright, you know what? Before you get any farther with that, yes, I'll see you guys some other time. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to be streaming tomorrow since this game is done. You know what? Actually, fuck it. Thursday I'm going to start doing those, I'm going to knock out those 2 samples. So I'll see you next time with a couple of samples. We're going to be taking a look at Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, and right after that, I'm gonna play some Armored Core on the PS1. So until then, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for tuning in for the finale of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. That's another request off the list, and I'll see you all next time. You guys take it easy.
Bye-bye.
And be safe.